It's time once again for your update from the Mayor of New Hope, Kathi Hemken, joining us once again for your New Hope City update. Hello, Mayor. How are you today?
Hi, Dave. Just fine. The golf course pond is frozen over, so happy winter.
Yes, we'll talk about that in a second. The golf course season, unfortunately, is done mostly unless something strange happens to weather, but we'll talk about that. Let's talk first about scattered site housing progress. There's some great progress at a few properties. Let's start on Aquila. How is that moving along?
Okay, as you may remember, that's the house that had the fire. And so they bought the house, they tore it down, what was there. And now that's pretty much in the framing stage. So they think another couple of weeks and that should be all framed in. Then they'll move inside and start doing the interior.
Let's move up to Pennsylvania, 52nd in Pennsylvania. A lot of activity there as well.
That one's all framed and they're putting on the roof this week. So that's exciting too.
And final note is the Habitat House. We've been keeping residents up to date on that progress. How is that moving along?
Well, it's done. And we have a buyer. And so that first, they're going to sign on that on the 22nd of December. And then they'll just be moving in shortly after that. If you've never been to a completion of a Habitat House, it's really inspirational because the family is there. And for a lot of people, that's their first home. Mm-hmm. And so it's just a really emotional time for them. They've been working on that house. So this is exciting that we've got a family and they're going to be signing on the 22nd.
Fantastic. Let's talk a little bit about building permits and inspections for a moment. And you wanted to relate some numbers and just the frequency of visits for the inspectors. And some of this relates to the city services survey as well.
Well, this is the numbers I'm going to give you are pretty common. But the reason I'm bringing it up is on the city services survey, there were some people that indicated they didn't think the inspectors were out enough or not enforcing enough, weren't doing their job. Well, in the month of September, there were 407 inspections done. And that's just amazing. You know, it's not like you're just driving by in a lot of these cases. So they were code enforcements, they were building inspections, they were rental inspections, but 407 in a month for one department is quite a feat. So hats off to them.
You bet. When you break that down by day, that's a lot of visits per day, even during the work days. Let's move ahead to the police department, give you a few updates here. And the true sign from the police report is Officer Callio, the community relations officer, has been very busy. Where has he been cited?
He has. Well, he was at Broadway Village talking to staff and residents about safety. And he will come to your apartment building if you want him to and talk about just about anything in the police department that you want him to. And then the fun stuff, he went to the lodge in New Hope and called bingo, which I think is kind of fun. And of course, he always does the car seat safety checks. So if you get a car seat and you want to make sure it's in properly, you call Officer Callio. He'll meet you at the police station or wherever and check to make sure that that car seat's properly installed.
On a more serious note from the police department, recently some of the police chiefs in the area got together to talk about violent crime. Give us a recap of that meeting.
Well, the three police chiefs, Robbinsdale, Crystal, and New Hope, got together with Commissioner Harrington. Now, I thought Commissioner Harrington was a police officer, but it turns out he's an appointee from the governor, but he is in public safety and in the sheriff's department. And he met with these three police chiefs just to talk about violent crime in the western suburbs and what they're doing and what they can do and some programs that we might get started on. So keep watching for that one.
We've got some great news from the police department as far as helping out those in need during the holiday season. Give us some of the numbers from the recent coat drive.
Oh my gosh, we had this coat drive. And as people are bringing coats, well, apparently there's a lot of coats out there because they brought in over 200 coats. Now those coats will go to the Salvation Army. They'll get cleaned and then they'll get passed out to people who need them. So thank you all for whoever brought a coat in. And also to those people that brought in canned goods that went to the food drive, and that all went to near food shelf.
Fantastic help from the community. And one final note, the police helping out those in need through Meals on Wheels. Who's out there driving these days?
Oh, every week, 2 police officers, whoever happens to be on duty that week, 2 police officers go out and they deliver a route on Meals on Wheels. And it's usually like 10, 12 dinners to people. The people that are getting them are just thrilled to see those officers there. So when we talk about community service, our police department is really into community service.
Let's move on to another area we've been following in Public Works, and that is the utility bill certification process. Tell us about the recent number. Things continue to go in the right direction, but still some work to be done.
They do. As you recall, that's delinquent utility bills. It's usually the water bill. And so it started at $364,000. It's now down to $180,000. But that $180,000 we hope will go down further before we have to actually assess it on people's taxes. If we don't do that, the rest of us have to pick up that tab because the city buys the water and then we just kind of dole it out to the residents and they're expected to pay for it. And when they don't, the rest of us have to pay for it. So we're diligently trying to collect that money, and I'm sure we will.
Speaking of water, we've got the maintenance folks out working on a few hydrants. You had a few leaks out there on some hydrants?
We did. You know, those maintenance guys are just the unsung heroes. They're cutting trees, they're picking up trash, they're just doing almost everything you can imagine. So they had 2 leaky fire hydrants. And so they went out and replaced those. And then, of course, they, I have to take well, they're doing other stuff.
Working on the graffiti at a couple parks, unfortunately. That seems to be an ongoing effort.
That's really sad. Liberty Park and Civic Center Park both have graffiti. And when we have graffiti, it costs our city money to remove that. And it costs the maintenance people time to get that off there. So if you're doing that, stop it. And if that's your child doing that, tell them to stop it. But we don't want to be removing graffiti. We try to get it removed as soon as we can. And if you see graffiti that hasn't been removed, please let us know so we can get somebody out there to do that.
One other note from Public Works, if you have been driving up and down Bass Lake Road like I have recently, you've noticed lots of orange cones and wondered, what are they doing by the manholes? You had the answer, Mayor.
I do. Bass Lake Road is a county road, and it has manholes with manhole covers on them. Well, the city owns the manhole covers, and the manholes, the hole in the street, is taken care of by the county. So the maintenance department was out helping the contractor by removing those manhole covers. They went down into the holes, fixed the manholes, and then the city would put the cover back on. I think they let the people out before they put the cover on. I'm not sure.
Let's hope so.
Let's hope so.
All right. Well, that seems to be getting completed here. Let's move ahead to Park and Recs and talk about a few things that are going on. The first is still a need for some employees for those warming houses. It's about time to get those opened up.
Well, we're interviewing some this week that have applied, but we still need some more. So if you're interested in doing that, go online, apply for that job. It's just a part-time job, but it is kind of fun. And come in for an interview.
Let's go to the golf course, talk about that season ending. Unfortunately, it looks like they're buttoning things up. What happens at a golf course at the end of the season?
Well, one of the things that happens is last year they put 60 piles of manure on the sprinkler heads.
Right.
And the reason I know that number is because they had a contest at City Hall to guess how many piles of manure were put on the sprinkler heads. And there's 60, I found out today. So they've got all that done, and they are officially closed. However, last year they officially closed and reopened 4 times. So you just never know. If it turns nice and you want to golf, I suggest you call the golf course and see if they're open. One of the things that we know that the golf course is closed, the geese have left. And this morning I was watching them come in. They were flying, and the ice is frozen over on the pond. And when they would try to land on the ice, they slid across the pond. It was so funny. But they're gone now, I think. They haven't seen one all afternoon.
Yeah, I figured they probably think that's enough. We're not going to go there anymore if we can't get in the water, right? One part of the golf course that is not going to be closed is the clubhouse. Tell us about the opportunities all year round for the clubhouse and how people seem to really be taking advantage of that.
They do. The clubhouse is beautiful. It's got a good place, and they keep it very, very clean. This week, they've rented it 4 times. Just for parties, for dinners, you can bring your own food in, which is really a bonus because it's hard to rent a place that you can do that. So it's become a very popular place to rent. It holds about 75 people. They've got 11 tables there that seat 4 nicely. And then they've got some long tables, and of course they've got a place to serve the food, a place to plug in their crock pots to serve it. So if you're looking for a place to rent, it's quite reasonable, especially if you're a resident of New Hope, to rent that. But it's filling up quickly, so if you do want to rent it, now's the time to get your money in.
All right, you see the city's website at the bottom of the screen, newhopemn.gov, if you want to find out more about the rental or many of the other things that we're talking about here. So now with the golf course closing, a lot of people looking for activities. They're probably heading over to the ice arena because the ice arena is open as it is all year and running strong. And there's still times for open skating. What are those hours once again?
Well, the next two Fridays and Saturday, or Fridays and Sundays, they'll be open. So 6:30 to 8 on Fridays and 4 to 6 on Sundays. They're now starting to play the high school games there, but they're not in those hours. And there's an adult hockey league that plays there. And of course, the little guys are practicing and playing inside, thank goodness. And so they're playing there. But we do have open skating twice a week. And I think it's $4 to skate. And you can rent skates and either get your sharpened if you need them.
Yeah, great bargain there. And again, if you don't want to go skate, just go watch some of those games. It's lots of fun. Other things happening in the city. We've got some holiday lights going up on Xylon. When does that great lighting happen, or has it already happened?
It's already happened. As soon as it got kind of dark, they put those lights up. And if you haven't been over there by Hy-Vee, just drive up Xylon. It's so pretty. The little white lights are all twinkling, and it just lights up that whole street. It's so pretty. So go take a look.
We've been talking a lot about the city services survey over the past month or so as people have been taking it. Now all the numbers have been added up and the city sent out some information. Again, where can people look for that information, and why is that so important for people to take a look at, and the city as well?
Well, for no other reason, just to make sure that you realize, like I do, how wonderful the city is. So you can go onto the website and /city survey and look at the results. There's some pie charts and some graphs, and they didn't print all of the comments just because there's so many of them. But you can see the general trend. And basically, the majority of the people in the city are happy with the way the city's going. They were a little bit, the numbers were a little bit down on safety, but I think that was just part of the whole culture this last year. So those will go back up, and we are doing everything we can to keep everybody safe. But the city looks really good. Our pavement management plan, where we keep fixing the streets, that number has gone up tremendously because we've been really aggressive about doing that. And of course, you know that you don't pay extra taxes. That's just kind of embedded in your regular tax statement. So when you get assessed, you don't get assessed when they fix the street in front of your house. Right. And that makes it fair to everybody. So our taxes look like they're a little bit higher than other cities, but it's a lot of that is because we put that into your taxes. So every year you're paying a little bit into that, so you don't get a $6,000-7,000 assessment when they fix your street in front of your house.
Very good. Another item on the city's website is the holiday lights map. Tell us about this map and how it really encourages some fun for families to get out and drive around town.
Well, that is fun, actually. You have until the 6th of December to call or go online and register your house. And what they'll do is they'll put your house on a map. You can get that map online after the 10th of December. And it's a map of New Hope and all the houses that are lit up. So if you put the kids in the car and go for a little drive around town, it tells you where the lights are and gives you a little verbiage so you know where to go to see all 6.5 miles of New Hope and the lights on the map.
Very neat idea. And again, that's newhopemn.gov/holiday lights to find out more about getting involved up to December 6th and then getting out and seeing those lights. Final note to pass along, there's something new in the council chambers that you're very proud of, and that really puts an identifier of whose council meetings these are.
Well, after they built that beautiful city hall, there's that big white wall that's behind us. Well, with this white hair and that white wall, it just kind of faded. So we've been looking at what to do back there. And I know there's some talk about changing the city logo. And so they didn't want to put the logo up there. They just wanted to put the words. So it's really quite attractive. It's real classy. That's about the final piece of the city hall that they had to do. So now we are officially done.
All right. All right. You'll notice that on the council meetings. Well, Mayor, thanks once again for the update. Always good to talk with you and find out what's new in the city. And again, for those watching, if you're interested in finding out more about some of the topics we've covered, newhopemn.gov is the website. Mayor, have a great week. We'll talk to you again next week.
Thank you. Enjoy the turkey.
You as well. Learn more about The Connection at ccxmedia.org and follow us on social media.